Hey everybody. So I just wanted to come on here and do a little training about sorry, this is huge, but do like a little training on how to take a student if they're inquiring about becoming a student at the Maple Leaf Music Company, how to take them from inquiry to full-fledged student on the calendar. So you'll receive some sort of message or voicemail. And the first thing you want to do is you want to contact them the way they contact you. I prefer texting. So sometimes if people call and I get the visual voicemail on my phone and I can read it, I'll text them back and say, hey, I'm in a lesson, or hey, I'm not in a place where I can call. May I text you some information? And if they say yes, then I go to my, there you can see that, I think, oops, memos is what the app, my memos. And in my memos, notes, not memos. Memos is the voice thing. In my notes, I just type in FAQs. Oops. Takes just a second. This is real time, people. FAQs. And the FAQs for Maple Leaf come up. Now, you should get a digital copy from me. And what you're going to do is if you need to do any tweaking, the FAQs are from me. It says from Casey at the bottom. So when you get this, put it in your notes and then go through and tailor it to you. So I teach voice, guitar, and piano. So I talk about voice, guitar, and piano books, voice and guitar, piano, 30-minute lessons. And it says from Casey, so go ahead and tailor it to you and then save it on here. And then when someone asks, you're just going to copy and then paste it in your text number. I'll do it to myself. And then paste it in. And then they will get everything they need to know in a text, like right away. This is really important to do if you can do it within the first couple of hours. And Facebook thinks so too on their business page because they rate you how fast you respond to people. I did a market research from here to Springfield, which encompassed retail stores that offered lessons, private teachers, and a place that is kind of like us that only gives private lessons. And half of them, no one even responded. And the other half was like a week later. And it was like, I would have already, if I was a student, have already picked some other place. It was very inefficient and they were charging more than we were charging. So the first step to me in establishing reliability, credibility, and interest and care, because, in our mission statement, or not our mission statement, but our vision where we're trying to do transformation into the musician, having a healthy relationship with your instructor is one of the very tenets of what we do. And so if you're not responding to people in a timely manner, they don't think you care. The other thing is each student that you acquire through my business, through Maple Leaf Music Company, you are making $20 an hour off of, which that's $40 a month. Right now at this current time. It's changed over time. So if we keep this training, that's what it is in 2021. Things will probably change because of inflation, which is crazy right now. And so let's say they stay, the average is 3 years. Okay, so when you're getting a student, you are getting them for 36 months. So 40 times 36 months. I'm basically handing you a lead that could generate $1,440. And if someone gives me $1,444, I'm putting it in my pocket, I'm putting it in a safe place. I'm not just going to disregard it and get to it later and just set it down. So that's kind of the take that we take on this as well from the business side. So one-on-one instruction, we want healthy relationships that show that we value them. And on the business side, we want to take care of the business and be good stewards of the business that we have, which would be, oh, we have a lead. God, we pray for our business. We think God brought that person to us, and we're their memory of their music teacher their entire life. You think back to your memory, to your music teacher, because they're your memory. And so we want to have that kind of mindset when we are getting a lead. So the first thing you do is you send them the FAQs right away. And then the next thing, when they respond in the FAQs, it throws the offer for the audition and tells them what's next. So when they're responding, they're like, yeah, I want to set up an audition. When are you free? So the next thing you do is you say, let me check the studio schedule, because it has to coincide with the studio availability, their availability, and your availability. So, and you could even say, and in the FAQs, like mine says, I teach Monday through Thursday, but it just depends on the availability of which instructor you get. Okay. So when you get your, and you're sending your FAQs, yours will say, hey, I teach Saturdays, Sundays, and Tuesdays. So they know ahead of time, and they may have questions about that. So what you want to do is you want to, if they have asked, hey, yeah, I think I want to set up an audition, they know your availability. So you're checking the studio schedule. And you may even say, hey, I'm going to check the studio schedule, see what's available. Is one of my days, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever you're more convenient for you than another day. And then you can wait for them to respond, or you can just go and check so you know which 2 times you could offer them. And then if they respond like, oh, Tuesday's better, then okay, that's great, that's fine. Otherwise, you can say, in the meantime, I've got these 2 open slots, Sunday at 3 and Tuesday at 4. Do either one of those work for you? And always give them 2 times. If you can do it on 2 days, sometimes you don't have availability on 2 days, and so because you're full. So then once they accept that, you say, okay, to get you on our schedule, we need the student's name. And if you haven't gotten the parent's name, you probably need to get the parent name at some point. And the person responsible for tuition, their email. Okay, so then you schedule the student, use the parent's email in the Square Appointments app. Okay, so you have inquiry, FAQs, schedule the audition, and now we are at scheduling the audition. Now the audition, it's going to be in the green Square app that says appointments at this point. The audition is also going to be their lesson time. So you might even say, hey, keep in mind that the audition time that we schedule will most likely be, if it's right, if it works for your schedule, that will also be your lesson time. And so for some reason I'm not signed in. So they know that when you're scheduling this, it's also going to be their lesson time. So they need to give it some length of time thought. Okay. Let's see. I will do this later because I got a new phone and it's logged me out. But you go to the green one, put in for the username, it's the Maple Leaf Music Company at gmail.com, and the password is capital K LEE 2070. If that doesn't work, try an exclamation point at the end. But one of those 2 will work, and I can't do this right now because morning. So anyway, you go in there, you hit the day and time, their name, email address, and I think you have to put in like a product, and the product is a 30-minute lesson. And if you have trouble with that, just ask me. And then you will go into the Square invoice, the gray one, and you've set them up in there. So their name should be in there, and you're going to go to the menu, invoices, create invoice, add a customer, pick their name, and you're going to do audition, books. And that's all you're going to do. That way, when they get there, they can pay the audition and books. Now, while you're at the audition, you can say, hey, do you want to go ahead and pay for this month's lessons? And then just go in, edit, and add. But that way, when they get there, you don't have to create it on the spot. And they know ahead of time what the audition and what the books cost and lessons. But if you're like starting in the middle of the month, you're going to have to prorate that. So right now, lessons are $85 a month. And so if they only had 3 lessons in that month, you do 85 divided by 4, which is $21.25 a lesson. And then you would say, okay, they're going to be here 2 lessons plus the audition. That's 3 total Thursdays in the month or whatever. So they would owe $62.50 to get you through that month plus their book amount. So that's how you do that. Then once you have it scheduled, once you have them sending the invoice, they don't have to pay it before they come, but make sure they know we can't order their books until they pay. That's really important. And then once you get to the audition, you want to check 24 hours before their audition to make sure we have audition forms printed. That audition packet contains 3 documents. The first is your contact sheet. And it's kind of like their student profile. It gets all of their parents' information, address, birthday, all those things that we need to know if you can't make it to lesson or something like that. Or if you want to get them a gift, or you need to reach out and speak to their parent. It gives you all of that information. Or you're wanting to even just do like figure out how many students you have from Web City or how many students you have from this school. You can kind of have all that information on their profile. The first sheet of the audition packet. The next 2 sheets are our policies. And we're going to have a whole training video on how to explain our policies and what I expect from you as the instructor to understand, know, and apply as the instructor. So we'll have a whole training on that, don't worry. And then the third document is the media release, and that is what they have to sign to give us permission to take photos and videos in their lesson, or even professional photos at events like recitals and things like that. And so you just need to make sure that if they don't sign it, that you're aware. Otherwise, we kind of assume that they just sign it. And so anyway, when they get done with the audition, and you're going to take them all, we're going to have the training on the audition. Then you turn your paperwork into me. And if you are let's say we open up some other branches outside of the Carthage location, we will do a training for an extension center. I'm thinking that we probably just need to make them digital, like you just scan them or photocopy them and send them to me with the student name and the subject, and the student name and the teacher name and the subject and what extension center. And then I'll print them off at Maple Leaf and we can keep a record of it. Because what happens from there is I take their audition paperwork and create a recurring invoice, and we can set it and forget it. And then if they give their 30-day notice, you just let me know and I stop the recurring invoice, or they'll let me know if you forget. Those are always fun. And then the other thing you need to turn in with your audition paperwork is any cash or checks and a book order form. So there is a sheet there's a price list in the lobby, and it tells how much each type of books, like piano books, starter kits, all that thing, everything, how much it costs. And what you need to do is you need to say, I need this book. It's a kid's book. It's an adult book. Piano books, we use the same for kids and adults. Voice book is, we have a kids version, and then we have an adults video series. And after the kids pass their kids version, they could do the adult video series and it would be fine. Or you can go into interval training and you can do diatonic intervals first, and then kind of the ones built off half steps. Then, Oh, and then guitar, there's a kid's version and an adult version. So you need to specify that. Ukulele, there's a kid's version and an adult version. And whatever you teach, you need to know if there's a kid's version and an adult version, because if there is, you need to specify. So I don't buy the wrong one and it takes forever for them to get their books because we have to resend it back. Sometimes it costs more money in shipping. And it really, it costs. And so you could lose your commission, which is 20% on that, because where else are we going to get the money to cover the cost from that? It's literally money in, money out. And anything that costs extra comes from somewhere, and we have to figure out where. And if you're getting commission off of it and it's your fault for not specifying and someone ordered the wrong book, you have to pay for that. Now it's tax deductible and you can keep that cost, and it'll work out for you in the end, but it's not fun. And it's not fun for me to have to address something that is a basic expectation and you be upset about it. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to the student. It's not fair to Maple Leaf. And it definitely doesn't reflect the best on you probably. So, and we just want a peaceful, loving environment. And so it's really important to communicate and to fill out all our paperwork correctly so that there's no hiccups and it doesn't cost extra money because it's like, where's it going to come from? So, and let's see here, because that's what makes being a private contractor different than say just going in and clicking a time card and saying, I showed up, give me money. It's like, we don't have like a profit margin. You get what you're paid, and the rest goes to the rent of the building. So it's like, I don't know. It's got to come from somewhere. Those are called business expenses. And so, and if you're a private contractor, you are as responsible as Maple Leaf for those expenses. They are tax deductible, which is good, but you're responsible for them. Love you guys. With that being said, turn in your book orders, and then make sure that you text me that you have done. I had an audition, they paid cash, check, credit card, whatever it is, and I turned in my book order form and the paperwork. Please text me. Same thing when you turn in your paperwork to get paid, because that goes into like a drawer, and I really don't look in there unless I know to look in there, because I have my own studio and I'm managing my own studio. And so on the 8th, I look in there to see if anyone has turned in their paper. But if you turn your paper in early to get paid and you don't tell me, you're not going to get paid early. It's the same thing. So just communicate, because there's a lot of moving parts. And if I'm working with a moving part over here, it's just, and you're depending on someone else to order books for you and get invoices set up, then it's like, you have to communicate with me. I'm not just going to know that that's happening without some sort of alert. So please let me know. And yeah, so that is how a student goes from inquiry to student. Their first lesson, if they paid for their books and if and we ordered them and I knew to order them, it takes about 6 or 7 days for them to come in. So they should be here on their first lesson unless there's like a holiday. If there's not, we can improvise. We've got stuff that we can use to improvise for those first lessons. But typically when they come to their first lesson, they'll have their books. And so what you need to do is explain, if you haven't already, how we use the books, what the journal is, what the flashcards, how they work with the method books, how, when they come into lesson, what you expect from them. For instance, I expect them to walk into the classroom 2 minutes early and not wait out in the lobby, because I'll be with another student and I don't know they're out there. And if we need a few more minutes and I don't know they're out there, we may go a really long time and they're just sitting out there missing their lesson rather than coming in. So I put a sign on the door that says to come in 2 minutes, and I make sure at their first lesson, I let them know. I'm like, all right, it's your responsibility to come in 2 minutes before. Otherwise, I don't know you're out there and you're paying to sit on the couch. And when you first come in, make sure to put your books on the music stand and the book that you're starting with on the piano. Make sure to pull all your books out. and so they know what to do. And if they do that, then they get a piece of candy. And if they've kept up with their minutes, and I tell them, here's where you keep track of your minutes. Here's where you find your assignment. I might even quiz them and give them like a piece of candy if they can tell me back, what the process is, what their expectation is. And then their second lesson, I quiz them when they come in. I'm like, okay, what are you supposed to do? And if they do it, they get a piece of candy till it's their routine. So anyway, because remember, we're doing transformation, and music is so awesome in discipline and the way it affects the brain and how it can teach people responsibility. It's awesome. And so that's your responsibility to instill in them and to teach them. It's your responsibility to teach them. It's their responsibility to learn. And some learn at different rates than others. Okay, so that is the training on student inquiry to student. Our next training will be on the audition paperwork and how to take someone through the audition process. But let's review really quick. Student inquires, you send them the FAQs. They respond back with, yes, I'd like to set up an audition. You guys use the schedule to schedule their audition, which is also their lesson time. And to get them on the schedule, you need the student's name, the paying parents' tuition email, and then you can tell them what they need to do at the audition, but we'll do that on the next training. Then they come for the audition and they need to pay their invoice so that we can order them books. And then you need to turn in their audition paperwork after you talk with them to me, and their book order form to me. So that I can get it ordered, so that at their first lesson after the audition, they have all the resources that they need to get going. That's it. That's it. That's it. It seems simple to me, but I've done it 11 years at this point. And so if you have any questions, talk to me or talk to another instructor who's been here longer, and they'll totally be able to help you.